presentations. We have a couple of things that we need to listen to, and we don't have to take any, we're not going to take any action or anything like that tonight. But Mr. Villegas, okay, in just a moment, let me get the meeting called to order, and then we'll get to you real quickly here. You want to start that? I guess, I don't know if we need to or anything, except we need to prove it.
I would recommend just report it.
Yeah. Okay. Bill Gleason, we have, I'm going to call this meeting to order. At this time, we do not have a quorum. However, we're not going to take any action tonight, and we have a couple of presentations that would like to be heard tonight. So, on our attorney's advice, we can do that. I'd like to bow our head for the invocation. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve our community, to work with each other, to find solutions to problems. We ask that you guide us and lead us in this undertaking, and be with us, and help us make positive and correct decisions. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay. Since we don't have a quorum, I'm going to just committee to say I want to bypass the minutes. We don't have that. We have the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. And thank you to whoever it was that wrote that up.
They say that was nice. That really was.
I looked earlier and all of a sudden it dawned on me. We have, I'm going to bypass the new business item. That was the only action item we had tonight. But I'd like to go ahead and talk with, or have a gentleman here from the baseball thing. Go ahead so you don't have to sit here all night and listen to all the other stuff.
All right, thank you. This is the presentation to follow. I think the top page, cover page may be, would you like to cut? Okay, well, good evening. We appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Fidel Villegas, and this is my wife Margaret. We have two sons, Andres, he's 9, and Marcos is 13. We've been in Floresville approximately 20 years, something like that. Eagle Creek is where we initially lived in South Dakota. Where we presently live. I'm a police officer, almost 25 years, with San Antonio Police Department. I'm a police sergeant. Margaret is an assistant finance director for the city of San Antonio. And we got into baseball, actually first with CYO back in Holy Name with one of our kids. And then that led into Floresville Little League. We went back to our church and started CYO for a few years. And then eventually we got into select ball. Well, we came back to Little League here, then we decided to go to select ball. What is select baseball? Select baseball is, when you can see if you follow we've got some pictures and so forth in there, but just as a guide, let me explain what select baseball is. It's when coaches seek out baseball players from wherever leagues, talk to the parents, choose these players to play on select teams, and practice with them with the purpose of competing in tournaments against other select teams. Or a select team can announce that we're going to have tryouts for this team or these teams, and then they enter these tournaments when they feel like they're ready against these other select teams. A lot of these select coaches are college players or ex-college players, professional players, and this has gotten really popular in the state the past several years. The select coaches then, they go online to these organizations that sanction these tournaments. The sanctioning bodies, USSSA, Nations Baseball, Super Series Baseball. So the coaches go to those websites, they register their teams, and then they enter these tournaments. They usually stay close to home at the beginning until the skill level picks up and the coaches, it's a lot more intense than you would say a recreational league. Well, then they develop their skills and they enter tournaments, and as they get better, they try and travel out a little further and play in other venues. Hotspot destinations, I call it. Here's a list of some of those destinations. These are just some of the popular ones. And you can see there, just by this list, a lot are near Austin, Central Texas. Some years ago, you see Old Settlers Park. If you're not familiar with it and you Google Old Settlers Park in Round Rock, you see that some years ago, I'm not sure how many, maybe 11 or 10, the city of Round Rock got together and realized that this was exploding in Dallas and Houston, and they put in $18 million into their baseball facilities, and they've just added on since. It's just an incredible explosion in that. What happened then is Dripping Springs came in online and said, well, all these teams from South, even the Valley and Laredo, are going to Round Rock. Why not? Let's do it in Dripping Springs. That one got so popular. This past week was the grand opening of their second one in Dripping Springs. San Marcos, same thing. City Park, Ramon Lucio Park came online, and they got so huge. Last month was the grand opening of the second one in San Marcos. McAllister Park here in San Antonio, the Little League realized we got to jump on board. The Little Leagues are not made to make money and produce money for their cities. So McAllister Park formed a 501c3 and said, let's jump on board on this tournament stuff, pastime baseball, and they do these tournaments. Prospect Park, Helotes, Southeast, Normal, the bottom one, those are south, those are going to be our competition, so to speak. With the venue that we have here in Floresville, they're not going to be competition for us, what we foresee. How do we get Floresville on this list? Our team, this Floresville Baseball Country is the name of this company that we're forming. Floresville Baseball Country is 5 tournament directors. I have me and my wife as owners. We have a San Antonio businessman downtown, or in San Antonio, who has business and office type business with machinery and computers and so forth. But he owns a baseball facility. It's gotten so much better than his other business. He wants to be involved in this. We have a high school baseball coach who used to play college ball. We have a local Floresville youth coach who's a real sports enthusiast. He's really good for the town here to grow the sport. And an ex-pro ball player, a guy who played in California. And these are going to be our tournament directors. These tournament directors, when we have these tournaments, one guy each weekend is the guy in charge of that tournament. So there's always going to be somebody there responsible. We plan on making a $250,000 investment in this facility, where we're building 4 to 6 quality baseball fields. What we don't know right now is if it's going to be 4, or it's going to be 5, or it's going to be 6. It's going to be at that time making a determination based on, of course, the costs of the materials and things like that at that time. The more fields you have in this kind of business, the more teams you can host, the more money you make. Although we're not going to start too big for what we can afford. The baseball fields are going to be tailor-made for select baseball tournaments. A lot of times the younger age groups are the ones that bring in more revenue. We'll be building new bathroom facilities. We'll build a central batting cage area, quality concession stand, menu. We've been around so much for the past several years that I think we have a real good handle on it, on what will be popular with the menu and how to bring in the most revenue for concessions. The cleanliness, we're real big on that. All families, these are family outings every weekend. And people, these families, especially women, don't want the bathrooms to be not clean, or you don't want it. It is the first impression. The event center that y'all have, it would just blow away these other venues. And if we keep it looking beautiful, it's going to be very, very popular. We'll phase in some of these things. The fields are the most important. And we can phase in more and more in infrastructure into the baseball complex as we go. It's going to be very important. Floresville Baseball Country will host sanctioned tournaments. There's some online. Somerset just came online. last month. They know what's happening. They're trying to jump on board. They started with non-sanctioned tournaments. I've already got feedback from people that are there. They're not gonna be much of competition for us, but I think that's just how close it's getting. I can tell you Lavernia has one that they're planning. They're trying to beat us to the punch. I don't wanna say any more about that because I wanna focus on what we can do here. We plan on we're gonna have a website. It's gonna include the calendar of events. So you go to our website, you'll see the calendar events that we have, which of course, we're talking about baseball tournaments, but there's plenty more that we're gonna have besides just baseball tournaments. We're prepared to implement a real heavy marketing campaign. If you're not into this, you may think, marketing, why do you need that? I mean, what are you gonna market? Okay, you got some baseball fields. Believe me, there's a ton of marketing that's out there that we can do with leagues, organizations, sports, coaches. There's all kinds of people that we know on many, many lists of, that we can get to flyers, schools. The kids need to know baseball at a young age and be exposed to it. So we've got a lot of good plans that I think are gonna work with our marketing strategy. Radio, of course, all the newspapers in these outlying areas around Floresville. We're gonna host, this thing is made to operate like this. Baseball tournaments 10 months a year. Every weekend there will be tournaments scheduled. Obviously, that's because some of the weekends are gonna rain out. You might have 2 weekends in a row rain out. For our business, we need to have the tournaments every week. Some are gonna be huge tournaments. Some are not gonna be that large. We need the whole time so that we can recoup and keep our business. The schedule is basically like this. If you want to see the age groups, it's in their first and third weekend or those age groups. We target those 8 age groups, and that's how it works. So the same teams, same age group can play twice a month here, and that's what's going to happen with the local teams. That's before they venture out. Select teams can carry, or they do have to carry their own insurance. Nowadays it's easy, you go online, they do that when you register with the sanctioning body. They have to ensure that you have insurance. They check the kids' birth certificates to make sure that they're proper age for that age division. So there's some good checks and balances that are getting even better with those sanctioning bodies. Somerset, like I said, I know normal on 5 Diamonds. I know they don't have the checks and balances on some of the stuff that I've seen out there. And so they end up with real cheap tournaments, but you get a lot of problems because there's kids that aren't the right age and so forth. Those are just problems. Teams register online. What they do is they check the schedule that's posted online on a Wednesday evening. They've registered for the tournament on Saturday to be in Floresville. It's a team out of Marion, let's say. On Wednesday evening, they check the internet and say, okay, now we got the schedule when we play on Saturday morning. Oh, 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Directions are online. Everything's online. You get directions through Floresville. We got them through all the businesses so they can stop and play. Pool play games are played on Saturday. Bracket games played on Sunday. There's a formula for the results online. It runs through, after you put the results into the games on Saturday night, we'll have them seeded based on the results of how their games came out on Saturday. So by Saturday night, all the team moms and the managers and coaches can see, all the parents can see, okay, we play at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. As this grows, the teams that travel out, they start staying in hotels. We thought we'd never stay at hotels to do this thing. Guess what? We realized sure is easy, sure is nice. Some of the venues we go to, Floresville has huge advantages over that. And now we have hotels. I think if I was sitting here 18 months ago, I don't know if I could, now in 18 months, y'all seen the hotels come online. That won't start initially, but once it gets going, there'll be travel and things coming. Trophies awarded, of course, to the top teams in each age division. And then the teams, the reason that they do this, they accumulate these points. It's real big to these select coaches. They get points. That sanctioning body hosts tournaments like a state level tournament in Round Rock or Dallas or something. And they know that these teams have played, oh, that's Floresville, the teams that played in Floresville, they're winning, they've got an X amount of points. Let's give them a berth to this higher level tournament over here. And it's exciting for these guys. And then they make a vacation out of it. Florida, things like that. These are the tournament fees that we're using. This is the age group, six and under, that's what 6U means. 6 and under, 7, 8, really there's not a 7, but 9 and under, $250, $275, up to 12 to 14 age group, $300. To some people that aren't familiar with select baseball, that sounds like a lot of money for a team to pay. I can tell you we play in Houston. They charge $395 for entry fee and $100 for a gate fee. I don't know what a gate fee even is over there because there's nobody at the gate taking tickets, but it's a gate fee. So it's $500 what the team pays, and before you pay, the coach hits up every parent. I need, $40 or whatever it is. These prices are higher than what you have at the low end, and they're lower than what you have at expensive places. Typical tournament plays like that you can see this is what I say typical tournament. I have no doubt that we're going to be in this range right off the bat. As we grow, of course, with teams, you can see how that would bring in more revenue. These community service and special events. We're real big on community service and special events. This is a business, an LLC that we're developing. This Floresville Baseball Country will be a business. It's not going to be a 501c3. I have experience with the 501c3. I can't even say 50. I guess I'm too nervous. But I've been the president of that nonprofit for years, and we're not real active right now. But I have experience in that and getting those things going. This is not about that. The 501c3 deal is a separate thing. However, we know that if we do the community service as a business, we can still get some support. We plan to sponsor veterans events. We're real big on that. I'm prior military. A lot of military people around here very supportive of the military. We'll assist the development and host Floresville Miracle League. We can bring that online. If any of you don't know what it is, you'll see later that that's something that we really have as a dream to bring here. We'll assist and host Wilson County law enforcement in development of a police athletic league. When I say Wilson County, that of course includes Floresville Police Department. If they're interested in that, I have experience with that, bringing those in. Basically, that's kids that can't afford to pay this kind of stuff, and you host a league for them on your fields, and it's a free league. Baseball camps, home run derbies, college baseball evaluation days. These are getting more specific for your older kids, and this is targeted to get a stronger high school program where your kids that are 13, 14, 15, getting ready to get up into high school, they can be evaluated by coaches, college coaches. They can be, have some specific things like kind of like a combine, you might call it, where they're actually evaluated and signed off on, and they can see what they need to improve on. Baseball-related movie nights or movie days at Arcadia. There's so many baseball movies. We feel that we've seen other businesses do it where they host that things like that at the theater. We'd love to host and get kids to go to baseball-themed movies. Peanut Festival Baseball Tournament. This one could be really big. All of the other ones that host tournaments like to host one if they can in their town that matches up to their big event. And it's October. It's great baseball atmosphere where the teams play a lot in October. We would love to have something during the Peanut Festival and get a bunch of people here already in the town. The baseball equipment drives, of course. We'd love to do things like that, and we plan on doing the baseball equipment drives. In the past, when I've done this for my police athletic league teams, we use select teams like that my kids have been on and just put out text to them. So give us any old stuff you have to pass on to the police athletic leagues. And within about a week or two, you've got to cut them off because there's too much equipment coming in. People that are into this stuff pay a lot of money for their equipment, whether it's cleats, bats, gloves. As the kids outgrow it, they'd rather another baseball kid have it than someone who's not going to use it. Okay, let's get into the business proposal. We'll enter into a ground lease with the city. This is our plan for that property. In this scenario here, we'd like to get the property behind the event center, which is adjacent to that rear parking lot, for a 10-year period. We pay a lease payment to begin at $1,000 a month. After a 10-year term, we would like that right of first refusal for a new lease term. In this scenario, we're saying we would lease the kitchen, the concession window, and that patio area for a 5-year period. We'll pay a lease of $1,000 a month for that, plus a negotiable percentage of the concession revenue. So we're talking that right now would be approximately $4,000 a month total. After 5-year term, we want the right of first refusal for a new lease term on that property. The concession window, the patio, and the patio, the concession window, and the window area, the kitchen. If we can't get that ground lease, which includes the kitchen, concession window, and patio area, we'd like to negotiate the terms for locating the baseball fields on that same property behind the event center, but just restructure the lease agreement, obviously. Okay, we'd like to see the baseball field property flow really nicely into the city park area for use of that playground and swimming pool area. We have so many people that we're gonna mail out, so many coaches and organizations and people that play these tournaments all the time, that we wanna include something in there that's telling them, look, you'll have access to the pool, but there's the playground. You know, we wanna say we have these things already, so we make a nice little entryway over there. Now, this is what we're looking for with the Miracle League. If you're not familiar with it, we really would like that you look into that a little bit with us. If a 501c3 from here can bring that Miracle League here, and it's very, very doable, I believe. I believe we have all the earmarks happening with the oil, you know, the Walmarts, the H-E-Bs, and just so much activity that's starting to happen. That Miracle League, I think, should be a target for Floresville to get here. Now, the reason the timing would be right, and I'm so big on it, is because I have a baseball facility already. And so to put that in the middle of it, I could kind of like feature that. And the reason I would feature it is not because it's gonna help me make more money, that's a free league, but it gives the city and it gives us as a business the really good PR, so to speak. People know your heart's in the right place. I've been to that league and we've been to it. We believe in it. And if you just look, if you go one time to one of those, you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, we would request that the city would draft the lease, you know, with us, of course, and then we have time to let our lawyer review it. Jeff Gately is going to be the lawyer for our business. But again, if y'all want a different structure where I take back everything to him that we agree on, he could draw it up as well, whatever works. Okay, bring select baseball tournaments to Floresville. How is this going to benefit Floresville? Obviously, it helps with the local restaurants and retail businesses and increases the sales tax revenue for the city. And eventually, as I said, as teams come from further out, it's going to increase the hotel visitors, meaning hotel occupancy tax revenue will increase for the city. We plan on some employment opportunities to the city. Obviously, we need, we're going to need grounds crew that help. I have the people, but always there's need for help, paid workers, whether it's concessions, umpires. We want to grow this thing where we have schools, and one of the biggest umpire groups is already, they work out of Austin for Austin Select, and they have they want to come and do a school that we're there, certifying umpires, and that's a good way for some guys to make some extra money. It becomes a real family-friendly town, and people know it's a family venue. It just helps Floresville become known, and the popularity get better as a family-friendly venue. Going back to the Miracle League of Floresville, this would have a real positive impact on how Floresville is seen all across the state, because if you see who's already got a Miracle League, you'll go to San Antonio behind Wolf Stadium where the Missions are. And those are the kind of people that are involved in that are the kind of people that we want to be recognized by. These are the people that have done things for many years in the community and know how to help your city. The Peanut Festival alone will already see, if we bring this league, so many people here. It'll bring even more with the Miracle League and with these tournaments. The Miracle League, you'll see, you have to just think of these possibilities. The Miracle League of Floresville. The more you look into it and you visit it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Every child deserves the chance to play baseball. Just in this picture, if some of you can go to that picture that's there, if you, it's page 17 on Hannah. If you see that picture there, it's just a very quick shot that we took when we were there. But the guy with the microphone on the right is popular news anchor type sports guy. This is early on a Saturday morning. The guy to the left with the ball cap on, high-fiving the player, that's UTSA's head baseball coach. You can't see them, but off to the right, you might see one of them, off to the right is a group of guys. Those are UTSA baseball players. Behind, where we were behind the backstop, is a whole group of young ladies, college-type group. And they practically couldn't get on the field to help volunteer for this thing. So there are a lot of service-oriented type, or people who need to do this community service, whether it's Boy Scouts or whatever, that really seek this Miracle League out. Okay, this would just, I guess that's what we want to leave you with, is to, if we work together, let's give people another reason to visit Floresville. Together, you know, the city of Floresville and Floresville baseball country will be a winning team. Let's work together on this thing and make this happen. I'd entertain any questions, but I know that we don't have a quorum and so forth. I can be reached anytime.
I would probably ask you to come back when we
Sure.
do this
Sure.
for the rest of them.
Sure. We really appreciate the time.
Okay. Thank you very much.
If I had one yet, I'd have my office.
Thank you very much. And we're going to go on to engineering.
Well, that's something that would be discussed in the executive session, since we don't have a quorum, Mr. Gleason. What I'd suggest is Mr. Gavito, after the conclusion of this discussion, can brief the two of you and talk about the status of the...
Okay. So then, I believe that's all we have for this evening.
That's the end of the discussion, sir.
Very good. Thank you very much.